Welcome to the DL Gaming Podcast. I'm Bobby.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Emilio.
And we're going to talk about video games.
Yeah, a whole bunch of them.
All right. But
yeah.
Before we do, we just wanted to remind you that if you are on our Discord, then we are still going to be accepting votes for the movies we're going to be watching in July for our movie podcast, Movies on the DL. Check out that podcast and join us on the Discord to vote on what movie you want to watch with the community. It is a good time. We just had our Fifth Element episode that came out recently. Good episode. We talked about that and really good conversation about the Alien franchise.
Yeah.
I think that was really cool.
Hey, Bobby, so can they still nominate or just vote on what has been nominated?
The nominations are closed.
Okay.
They can just vote for July.
For July, yeah.
Yeah.
Till next time. For everything else, for that and everything else, to get to our Discord, to our Patreon, to our merch, to our pictures, to every episode ever, go to dlgaming.net. Gamers Nirvana.
All right.
I'm sticking with it. Even though it's just us, it's still Gamers Nirvana. We can basically we can just adopt whatever. We're so low level, we're under the waves, dude. We could be like dlgaming.net. Just do it. Nobody's gonna say shit, dude.
DLGaming.net. They're magically delicious.
I'm loving it.
Oh my god!
But what do you guys what have you guys seen so far as like things on your radar?
This week on the radar, so I wanted to start off with one game, Lemnys Gate. Not loving the name here. First of all, Lemnys Gate. What is that? I don't know.
Yo, who the fuck is Lemni?
Who's Lemni? I don't like that name. But this game looks really interesting. This is a first-person shooter strategy game, and it's a mind bender to explain, but I will try to do it. So what you do is it's turn-based. You're playing against another person. The game takes place over 25 seconds. Now, the first person gets to choose a character and decides what that character does. Like he runs around, he does objectives and things for 25 seconds. Then we reset the clock back to the beginning, and the other character gets to play. Or the other player gets to
plan.
Choose a character. No, he doesn't plan. He chooses a character, and then he can go into the map, play through the same 25 seconds. So player one's character is doing exactly what he did during his turn. Now player two can either go kill that character, or he can go do objectives or something else. Then it goes back to player one. Player one picks another character who goes in, does objectives, attacks, does whatever. So basically, it's a game that lasts 25 seconds, but you layer on turn by turn characters that are doing things. And it's this really weird idea for a strategy game, but also mixes in first-person shooter. You've got to go on YouTube and look up Lemnys Gate and watch a video of somebody explaining it better than I did, because it's a little difficult to understand.
I kind of get it. So then after you're done with a turn, you could watch it play out over 25 seconds, and it's basically a battle, right? Two sides.
Yeah, after each side has gone 5 times. But here's what happens. So player one goes. It's his first turn. He sends somebody over to complete one objective. Player two has their first turn. They send someone over to kill the player one's character. Now that objective is no longer complete. So player one gets to go again. Player one sends his next character to go kill player two's first character that would have killed player's one character. So player one's
first in, last out, or whatever. Yeah. So it's a stacking order, and then the last thing in happens first.
It's like Magic the Gathering.
It's Magic
like
the Gathering.
On the stack.
Oh, okay.
That's how Magic the Gathering stacks work. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
All right.
That sounds awesome.
I cast Fireball. I cast Counter. I cast my Counter.
It's
I cast
crazy. So I'm glad that there's a shorthand that you guys are aware of, because you got it right away. I'm not sure what the Magic the Gathering thing is, but
last in, first out is the way you say it. Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe that will clear it up for some people. But this game's only $15.99, and not a bad price. You can buy it right now. It's on sale. I think it'll go up to $20, but it doesn't come out till August 3rd.
Sounds super dope, dude.
Yeah, love the idea, hate the name.
Yeah.
Oh man, I got a buddy that will love this game. Like, he loves quirky mechanics and stuff like this, and he loves strategy games. So this is like right up his alley.
It seems like
looks really good.
You're gonna have to sit down with somebody for what, an hour at least for one match. It seems
No,
like.
well, you get 25 seconds each turn, and it
Oh,
flops
it's-
back and forth.
Oh, right.
So
Okay.
you have 5 plus
Oh.
5 times 25. So 25, what is that, 25 minutes? No, because
125 seconds. So that would
2,500
be
seconds.
125 seconds. So that'd be 2 minutes and 5 seconds.
Yeah,
Dang.
I would assume it'd go pretty quick. But yeah, dude, I'm going to keep an eye on this one because that sounds like a great idea. You can play against the AI, you can play against other people. They've put demos of this out to a select few people. So there's YouTube videos of the gameplay that you can check out, but I don't think it's available to everybody right now.
Maybe we should send them a strongly worded email to try out about where our copy is.
Yeah.
I'm going to send them a tweet and just ask them, well, who's Lemni? I looked it up. Apparently, it's the plural of a language, of an ancient language. So I don't know. If that is correct.
Oh.
No, get us a
That
copy
might-
of the fucking data, dude.
I
for
figured
Bobby.
it would have to be like some sort of time travel reference or some sort of like time thing. The whole Lemni.
Just say,
Yeah.
have you ever heard of the DLG Bump? 3 dots. They'll do the research and then they'll be banging on our doors.
Yeah.
Like, here's 10 copies. Give them to everybody.
All right. What about you
Literally all
guys?
10 fans.
So I'm still going through this E3 madness, man. There's just piles of games. I just saw this other thing. There's something called the Guerrilla Collective. They announced 70 games just within their, I don't know, it's kind of like a group of games that got together and are doing their marketing together. I didn't get anything off of that list because I couldn't tell which ones are going to be on PC. There was like just a ton of games, too much. But besides that, outside of that, there's still mountains of games. I'm just going to keep working through them till the end of the year, I guess. Just the things that, really interest me. Dark Pictures Anthology, House of Ashes. So Dark Pictures Anthology, I guess this is what they do. They make interactive movies. And they have a few of them under their belt. Can you click on Supermassive Games? We know Supermassive Games, don't we? Yeah, okay. So they make a few of them. They have Little Hope and Man of Medan. And their reviews are
Man
like
of
pretty
Medan.
good, like in the 70s or 80s. And that's hard to do with a interactive film. So this is their newest one. It follows some Iraq war soldiers that fall into a Sumerian like cave system. And they have to, and there, of course, there's monsters down there, and they have to get out of there. It kind of reminded me of The Descent, is what I remembered. So I don't know. I've never really played. I mean, I did the one that was on Netflix, the
Bandersnatch?
Bandersnatch. Yeah, I did that one, but I feel like this is going to be a little more interactive because it's far more on the video game side of it. Because it's just full rendered 3D graphics, But yeah, I want to try one of these out, and this one looks pretty good.
Okay. All right. What
It
about
definitely
you?
looks. I haven't seen an interactive movie game in a pretty long time. I think everybody talks about the one that was on like N64 or whatever it was a long time ago, and people were like, "This game is gonna cause kids to murder kids, and it's gonna cause violence."
That's every game.
You know what I'm talking about, Bobby? It was like an
wasn't-
interactive movie game, and then there was like always a
Night
rumor
Trap.
that there was a nude scene because it was just a bunch of teenagers and shit.
Are you talking about Night Trap?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
I don't think that was N64. I think that was PlayStation.
PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a
And it-
whole scandal about that game. Yeah, and that
That's
game
the
is
last-
on Steam right now. You can get that game on Steam. It's
What?
Ooh.
it's a ridiculous game. Yeah.
Oh, you
it's-
played it?
Yeah, I played a little bit of it, and I'm like, oh, this is bad. Yeah, I couldn't get through it.
So, like, I wouldn't have put this on the list had I not gone back to their other films and seen that, like, how they did, And they're not terrible, and hopefully people are getting better as they do a thing, And this is all they do, so hopefully the third iteration is their best.
Well, there was a good one that I played maybe a couple years ago. I think it was called Late Shift, and the company that made it had made another game. I don't think it was as popular, but Late Shift was pretty good.
And then there was the one with the videotapes, or the one that was huge.
Her story.
Her story.
Her story
Yeah.
and Telling Lies. Yeah, those are great.
Yeah.
Yeah. One that I always think of too, like if we're talking about classic FMV games, was Sewer Shark for the Sega CD. This is right around the time when Sega CD came out, and they were really trying to show it off, what it could do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sewer Shark and Burn Cycle, I think, were like the big games.
The last FMV game I can think of is Until Dawn on PS4. Everybody was playing that and talking about it on YouTube because it like had like 50 endings or some shit like that, and like it was extremely unique on everybody's play style and played paths, and that's the last one I can remember.
Was this good, Bobby? Sewer Shark?
I mean, maybe back in the
For
day.
the time?
Yeah. Yeah, but probably not today. Yeah, there was a whole phase of these back then because the technology could finally do this, and people were like, it's the future of gaming. It's realistic graphics, because they were just video recording people.
Yep.
But the Sega CD, dude, by the time you had all those attachments, the Sega CD, the 32X, like that thing looked like a transformer.
Yeah, it was huge. And then the
By the
controllers.
time you finish assembling it, you're either going to get cancer or cure cancer with that thing.
Christian, look it up. Do like Sega CD, or what is it?
Sega Genesis.
Genesis with all attachments.
Yeah, with all attachments. Sega CD, 32X. Now, they had a smaller version of the Sega Genesis that would, yeah, there we go. That's what I remember. The one where it's like, not the over-under like that, but to the left, the one where the Sega CD is sticking out the side. Yeah, that's what I remember. Yeah, right there.
Jeez.
That was a big old console.
It looks like the Starship Enterprise.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably not... It's probably not that much bigger than like a PS5.
Yeah, you're right.
Thing's huge.
Yeah.
Dude, the PS5 is ridiculous. I took a picture of my PS5 with my TV, and my friends were like, because I just mounted my TV, my friends are like, why the fuck is your TV so small? I'm like, nah, dog. The PS5 is that big. Like, you don't get it.
Well, I don't know where I was. I can't remember, but I saw one in person for, I think, the first time recently. And I was just marveling at the size of it. It was just...
I've heard that before. Hey, dick jokes. I'll go again since I have so many. Death Trash is an RPG, old school kind of RPG. Reminded me of Fallout 2, Fallout 1, Fallout 2. Post-apocalyptic, pixel shaded graphics though. You make a character, you go through the wasteland kind of thing. I wouldn't have. He eats his own puke. It's gross. But anyway, I wouldn't have really. Nothing was standing out to me until I saw the combat, and the combat is actually it's action based. It's not turn based, and it was actually fast paced. Usually, games that look like this and have this pacing for the walking and talking don't play this quick. It almost turns into an action game at those points. More like a I don't know, Enter the Gungeon or something like that, where you dodge, roll.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Like
it looks as smooth, and it kind of looks like a similar engine.
Yeah, really weird that you usually don't see slow RPGs with fast action like this, and that's why it stood out to me. Looks good. I'm gonna wait for some reviews and see where we're at with this.
It looks pretty interesting. I like games like this because for me, it's like, so I've been playing a little bit more of Grifflins every now and every now and then. And like, this looks like one of those games where it's like, I can pick up and drop and pick up and drop and like, it'll still be there.
Yeah.
Unlike other games where you're like, if I pick up and if I drop Total War and I come back to a campaign like 3 weeks later, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? And I'll just start all over again. But this looks pretty fun, depending on how expensive it is. If it's like 5 shekels, then I'll buy it.
Well, it's got a demo out right now, I believe. Part of this whole Steam Fest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can still get the demo, and no price point yet on the game.
Definitely worth a check out.
You want to call it? I'm guessing $9.99.
Ooh, $19.99.
Yeah, I'm going to say $20.
Yeah.
You gonna say okay?
Just because,
all right.
When you do a story like this, it's a lot of writing, man.
Yeah,
a lot of writing, a lot of settings.
The graphics are probably very deceptive here. I think there's a lot more to the game.
Yeah.
The
That's
loser takes 3 shots on air, and then Emilio, if Bobby loses 2, that means you gotta take 6.
Yeah, whatever, man.
Did I ever tell you that so in language school, not to go off on a tangent, like that's how I would drink. As weird as that sounds, like I didn't want to pay for like drinks on the town, especially in Monterey, California, where like an average drink is like $17. I would go to the liquor store, buy like the small Sailor Jerry's that's like this big, and I would just chug the whole thing. I would get a straw, put it in, and then chug the whole thing, and like sip on some water or a Coke, and then just coast the whole night, and maybe buy 1 or 2 drinks at the bar.
So you were like a hobo, right?
Yeah,
like
pretty much.
It's like one step above
It's
a hobo.
pretty much like putting it in a brown bag.
Yeah.
The guy that I always bought it from, because he was hella funny. He's like, just make sure you don't do it where the cops can see you. I'm like, bro, I'm 25 years old. I don't really care. I'm in language school and I hate my life. Just let me go. But it was yeah, no, that's how I used to drink, and I saw that as a problem, and I really fixed myself with that. But
No, we do the same thing. Pre-game, dude. We just fucking drink straight out of the bottle, and yeah, you save so much money that way.
I have a buddy
brain cells,
who he's from Kentucky, and he's like one of those guys where it's like charismatically, he always wants to be on the same level as everyone else, or like even higher. So he's like, bow, bow, bow. Like he's like super excited to see everybody. He's super friendly, right? He's like, hey man, how's it going? And one day he's like, Borjan, I got off at the same time as you. I want to see what you do when you get off of class. And it's a Friday night, so I'm like, all right. So he follows me to the liquor store. He's like, so what do you do again? And I'm like, yeah, you just pay like $11 for the little Sailor Jerry's, and you just buy a Coke for like $1, and then you just chug the whole thing, and then you drink it. And he's like, there's no way you drink this. And I chug it, and he's like, oh my God. He's like, I'm going to try. And he tries, and he pukes halfway through the bottle and like into the bottle.
Oh,
and he doesn't drink for the rest of the night. He's like, I'm good. It's the only time I've ever seen him not like, because I still talk to him to this day, and that's the only time I've ever seen him like not happy.
Lose some energy. Yeah, you poison them almost to death, dude. That's what happens when they're not happy. That's what happens with poisoned people. Lose happiness.
The worst part is after that. So every Friday it would be get a drink, go to the cigar lounge, and then like smoke with like 3 or 4 friends, and then go out to the karaoke bar and sing terribly. And dude, we would always have like 1 or 2 people that would kind of tag along. They'd be like, oh man, you seem kind of cool or whatever. Like they'd be like from different branches or from other classes and stuff. And they'd never smoke cigars in their life because, everybody that joins the military are from all different kinds of walks of life in all different parts of the world or parts of the United States. And like they would smoke cigars, and we would get people that, obviously don't know what to do. And we would tell them, hey, don't inhale the cigar smoke. Whatever you do, don't, like, it's not weed. It's not a cigarette. Don't inhale cigar smoke, because if you do, you're going to puke.
Yeah, a lot of people vomit on it, right?
Yeah, and so we had a guy one time, you know how arrogant people are sometimes, like, especially if they're from, like, a big city, they act like they're tough and shit. This guy was from Boston, and he's never smoked cigars before. He's like, hey, man, let me buy a cigar. And he buys like a Maduro, which is like the darkest of dark. It's like extra tobacco. Like it's what Cubans smoke on like the next level. And it's enough like nicotine to knock a cow out. Like it's insane. And he smokes it, and after like 2 puffs, he just yaks all into an ashtray, because like it's a nice cigar lounge, and they have ashtrays that are like a half a gallon, and they're right next to each of your chairs, and he just yaks straight into it, dude. Gross. And I learned that you should not take just random people out to go cigar smoking.
Only vetted people.
Only vetted people and people that you're cool with. Bobby, do you like? I know you don't drink, but do you like fuck with nicotine at all?
No. Well, I used to smoke cigars from time to time.
Would you
do that
now or no?
What's that?
I said, would you do it now, like for like DLG Con or something?
I don't know. Maybe. I think it's been years since I had a cigar. I used to have like maybe a couple a year, but I kind of stopped just because, I don't know, I'm trying to be super healthy and all that. But yeah. I don't know. I might.
Christian, what
If
did
you
what did you Google to get these picture of these random people up?
People from Boston.
Oh,
Oh man.
all right. They're all about to vomit. All right.
If you guys do DLG Con, shout out to DLG Con. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it. just don't have that many leave days. If you guys do go to DLG Con, I'll buy probably like a dozen stogies for everybody to have a smoke for me, I guess.
Speaking of DLG Con, fuck, I should be plugging it every week. Go to our Discord, and we have DLG Con planning. You can click on that. Look at the house that we're looking at right now. We're taking final numbers, so right now we're sitting around 10 people that are in for sure, and like a couple more maybes, like 2 or 3 more maybes. So yeah, go take a look, see what you think. Yeah, as things are right now, we're looking at like $300 a person or so. But the more that come in, the cheaper it gets, or the better the house gets, one of the two. So the more the merrier. It's going to be in Las Vegas this year. DLGaming.net, Gamers Nirvana. See what look at
that. Christopher, Darius Sotre asks if you can put in a link. In the Twitch chat for DLG Con and stuff.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk about some more games here. So another one that has been on my radar is called Fallen Aces. This is kind of an old school first-person shooter game. It's a little dated, but it's got a not really a unique art style, but a very different art style. It reminds me a little bit of 13. Remember that game? We were all excited for the remake.
Yeah.
The remake wasn't very good. It's kind of like that, sort of like cel-shaded, like a comic book. Takes place in, looks like the 50s, Switchblade City, they call it.
That's awesome.
But it's being published by Blood Interactive, which they've published quite a few games that I really enjoy. A lot of games that are modern but appeal to an audience that enjoys the older games. So you might recognize a few of these: A Medieval, Dusk, Gloomwood, which we talked about, that's coming out soon. But these old school first-person shooter type games, but a little modernized.
Apparently, whoever does their artwork, dude, has he sticks to the exact same style. It's a black background with red lettering. Yeah. Every single game that they've published, pretty much. It's so weird. It's so weird because it's not, generally the artwork, I think, usually comes from the game developer, but they're like, nope. We'll take it from here, guys.
Well, it's New Blood Interactive, so they got to keep it red, right?
That's true.
Yeah. They also published Unfortunate Spaceman. Did we play that? I played that with somebody.
Nick has played it.
Yeah.
No, so I played it for like literally 20 minutes, but I've been trying to get a game. So, the Among Us craze has been crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to get a game night to play Unfortunate Spaceman because this was something that was brought up by one of my favorite YouTubers. He's like, look, Among Us is fun, right? But if you don't want to play a 2D fucking game when you have a $2,000 rig, play Unfortunate Spaceman.
Yeah, I mean, a more Unfortunate Spaceman doesn't look that much better, but it's still, it's not like a top-down game. It's a first-person perspective. And they have different modes in there as well. Maybe it was Christian that I played it with, but I remember playing quite a bit of that game, checking it out. It's free, too. Completely free.
Yeah, it's free. And then even the paid stuff is really cool. Speaking of the game of the week, one of the things you can get as far as like for like $1, I think, is like you can make your spaceman look like a Dead Space 3 character, whether it be Isaac or the other guy.
Wow.
What's nice about first person in these, Among Us type games is you can't see behind you. So you really have no idea who backstabbed you, right?
Exactly. And then another thing is that with Unfortunate Spacemen, so you have like a traitor or traitors, but it's more combat based than just like instantly killing people. Like you can instantly kill people, but if you're the monster, like you can like, how in Among Us you instantly win if there's the same amount of survivors and there's monsters. Well, the monster, if there's like 3 people left, he can just completely reveal himself and then beat the shit out of everybody. And then at that point in the game, it becomes like a skill game.
Oh, interesting. So what if What if you're fighting somebody and a third party comes in? Would they be able to tell who the traitor is?
Yeah, because the person that's the monster is going to look like a giant monster,
Oh,
unless
okay.
like that person So like even the person as the monster still has the human loadout. Like they can so every human has like a weapon and like a mining tool and like things that they have to use to do actual
Work.
like objectives.
Yeah.
Like in Among Us, it's like do the objective, and it's like drag the yellow wire to the yellow wire,
It's
drag
so
the red wire
janky,
to the
too.
red wire. In Unfortunate Spaceman, it's actually like skill based like events and stuff like that. And there's also some combat stuff, and so it's I would say it's just really just for adults. And I'm not downplaying Among Us. Among Us is a great game, but it's a good game.
We really should play it.
Especially because it's free, and it's a good party game, and the servers are great too. Like I never seen any problems with it.
So Fallen Aces, Bobby.
Yeah, Fallen Aces. So same publisher as that other game, Unfortunate Spaceman, but basically just an old school first-person shooter with a comic book art style.
Yeah, it looks like Dick Tracy.
Yeah, got that. Dick
Yeah,
Tracy vibe.
sure.
Could be good.
Back
Made-
up! I got a
Made
broken
by
bottle.
two
see?
developers. Just looks like two guys working on this.
Oh, looks cool.
Yeah, something to keep an eye on.
Yep.
All right, what you
Yeah.
got?
What was it? A boomer shooter? That's what it
Boomer
was.
Oh
shooter.
yeah, that's the any clone for a Doom clone is a boomer shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a game I've talked about before, but the Lotion wants me to talk about again because there's a lot of news regarding the game. Is Battle Sector. As for like the changes that are being announced and like things that are being made before release, because it releases in 2 weeks. So in these kind of games, it's kind of like you move your character, you shoot, and then it's the end of your turn, right? Well, now it's like you move your character, you shoot, and then things are continuing going on. You can move more characters and shoot at the same time and stuff like that. So there's more things to juggle. I would almost say it's an RTS, but it's not really real time. But it's more in the sense of you line up actions and they play out immediately. So there's less time to think. They also announced the Sisters of Battle will be joining, the playable races. And right now, I think it's only the Blood Angels and the Tyranids, and it's a Blood Angel campaign. But really, this is the only thing I'm looking forward to in the next couple weeks. So I've been looking forward to this.
I know I'm gonna regret asking, but why do they follow the Blood Angels so much, dude? It seems to be like they're the focus of every story, or not every story, but like every time there's a video game, it's always the Blood Angels.
So it's either the Blood Angels or the Ultramarines, and it's because they're literally red and blue.
That's it?
That's about it.
You think so? All right.
Yeah, no, that's literally what it is. Also, like the Blood Angels have the most lore, and so do the Ultramarines, and they can just make up shit for them, and then they just instantly get a story or a game.
So this game's pretty much as close as you're gonna get to the tabletop, right? Right now, maybe?
Yes, besides Tabletop Simulator, which by the way, I've played a couple games of Tabletop Simulator, like Warhammer 40K on Tabletop Simulator.
How was it?
Holy shit! If you want to save your money and you don't want to go to your sweaty local game store,
You sound
play
like a
Tabletop
guy
Simulator.
who's fucking just realized he wasted 10 grand. You're like, oh,
No. Don't get me wrong. I love my models. Painting them is like therapy, and I want to play in person, but just a local game store hasn't opened up Warhammer 40K yet. And I will, the day they open up, I'm going to be showing up with my painted models and my half painted models, and I'm going to be playing. But like during COVID, Tabletop Simulator is definitely a godsend, because let's say like Emilio, you have all these units in your army, right?
Yeah.
What do? You go on a Tabletop Simulator, you import that list of units. The game gets all the current stats for those units, gets all the current models for those units, and you can play against your opponent. When you create the game, it has all the current rules, all the current settings, all the current possible battle zones, and it's just all there for you.
Dude, I'm super down
And,
to play that with you if we ever have time. But that sounds like
Yeah,
like a 3-hour
The
endeavor.
problem is
right?
that your average Warhammer 40K game is like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Plus, you're gonna have to explain everything to me, so 3.5 hours probably.
So unless you play like 500 points, which is like how everybody's first game is, which I'm totally down for as well.
Damn, that sounds. I had no idea that it was so robust on there. That's great to know.
Yeah, I'll look more into it, and we can play it out. We can even do like a 3-person game if Bobby's on at the same time, which is a rarity that you're both on at the same time. You're pretty much unicorns.
Yep.
But yeah. So yeah, this is the one and only game on my radar.
Cool.
All right. $35.99 is the price tag on that game. Coming out July 15th.
It is on sale right now because of the Steam Summer Sale.
Oh, okay. All right. The other game I wanted to talk about is called Inscription. And this is a game with a couple different genres here. So it is a card-based game, but it's also a psychological horror game, but also kind of an escape room game.
Shit.
There's a lot going on here. What really excites me about this is it is being developed by the same people, I believe, that released Pony Island. I don't know if you guys played that one. I never beat it, but it's one of those weird games that kind of reach outside the game. You think it's going to be one thing, then it turns out to be something else, and it kind of reaches outside the game at you.
Oh,
But
weird, man.
yeah, so just that alone has me kind of excited. And
Yes. So I'm watching the video, and it looks like there's a card game with a board game that you're playing, but then you look up from the board game, and then you're in a 3D cabin, and you go around that room and try to that's the escape part of it.
Yeah, the escape room part. Yeah, so a lot of things at play here. The trailer, we're watching it without audio right now. Go back and watch it with audio sometime, and I think it adds a lot to it. But it's this is a really good trailer for a video game. Really good presentation. Like, they really do a good job of hyping it up. Release date's 2021, so I guess not that far away. But, you know, it's a weird game. I like those weird ones, so something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting.
Bobby, have you ever, you say you like weird games, and this might be my next game of the week. Have you ever heard of a game called Paratopic?
No, I don't think so.
Me neither. I don't think
So it's one of those games that's like literally only like 10 minutes long or like 20 minutes long, and it's $3 right now. But the thing is, like, it has like almost an infinite replay value, and it's terrible graphics and things like that. But the more you play it, the more you notice like subtle nuances and like the story and the characters that you're playing. And it's known as like one of the weirdest games, and like at like one of the lowest price points, and people love it, man.
Okay, so it's called Paratopic.
Paratopic, sorry, not Paratropic.
Yeah.
82% for $3. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Smuggled
And so like I
VHS
said,
tapes.
it's like legit 10 or 20 minutes. So check it out.
Okay. Interesting.
So I have Endless Dungeon, not to be confused with Dungeon of the Endless, which is from the same developers. These guys, Amplitude Studios, have been making games in the Endless universe for like 15 years now. They probably have like 6 or 7. This might be their 7th game, 6th or 7th game in the same universe. And by now, it's funny because, like, if you're not paying attention, you wouldn't know that they have this, like, really fleshed out universe with a bunch of, backstories of all these different races and all this stuff. I had originally played, God, I don't remember what their RTS is called. No, it's a 4X game. Something, Endless something. And it's a beautiful UI.
Endless Legend.
Endless Legend, yeah. And then there's Endless Legend 2 as well. And then they have DLCs. If you play these games, I believe it's a French developer. And their UIs, their selection of colors, it's always been super appealing to me. Dungeon of the Endless was their first try at a roguelike. It was a really weird mechanic. I wish I understood it. I tried. I didn't understand how it worked. It was like a tower defense roguelike. It was really strange. But that's what this is now. So Endless Dungeon is a tower defense roguelike, but it's multiplayer, and it doesn't have all that weirdness where you have to move There was this weird thing with the crystal. On this one, you just have to defend against waves of bad guys. Beautiful graphics in the same endless world. Looks fantastic. Usually, we were talking about Orcs Must Die. I think that's 2-player co-op. This is 3 players co-op. It has a bunch of different characters. It's a twin stick shooter. I mean, fucking, this is up my alley for sure. I can't wait for a game like this. Do you guys like tower defense in general?
Yeah, I do. I
These-
like it, but then I feel like I never play those games that much.
It's mobile. I've played probably 5 or 6 of them all the way through. I really like tower defense. Go home dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I used to be really, really, really into tower defense games as long as they existed in Warcraft 3. But now, anytime you say tower defense, I'm like, is it in Warcraft 3? I don't want it. But this might make me want to play it.
Yeah, it looks fucking great once you see it in action. Yeah. My last game, and this is the last game on the radar, is Evil Dead the game. Did we talk about this, Bobby?
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
Yeah, I brought it up in my list of games that were like the Left 4 Dead clones.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then never mind. It's just it's
another
another
play like a night and shit.
Yeah, it's a third person 4-player co-op. But it's in the Evil Dead universe. I forgot that we had covered it. That's it.
I remember being like probably 13 or 14 years old and seeing like the main guy of Evil Dead, like I don't know his name. I think it's Sam, maybe.
Bruce Campbell.
There we go, that one. And I remember like Googling it, and I'm like, oh no, this is just too much shit to get into, man. But
it's its own world for sure.
Like I got into RoboCop, I got into like Alien, I got into a bunch of other like 80s and 90s things. But Evil Dead is something I never got into.
I mean, there's really not too much to it. They just came out with a TV show, but before that, it was 3
One
movies.
Movie? 3 movies? Oh.
Yeah. Well, there was Evil Dead 1, 2, and then... But Evil Dead 2 was like a remake of Evil Dead 1, though. And then there was Army of Darkness, which is technically the sequel, I suppose.
I like the TV show. Bobby and I, we both finished the first season, right?
Yeah.
And then we didn't watch the second season.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
It was like campy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was in line with the horror comedy.
Yeah, and they got him to do all the voiceover for this game too.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about what we've been playing. Other than the game of the week, which we'll talk about later, I've just been playing more Battlefront 2, man. It's and there's not really much else I can say about that. I've been studying so much that I kind of like have to cool off my brain by playing something a little mindless. So I've been playing Battlefront 2, just doing the arcade modes and also doing the co-op mode. And what's really cool is I always hated playing multiplayer and getting one of the really good characters. You know, you build up enough battle points, you get one of the good characters. I'd always get annihilated right away. So I felt like I was hurting my team and not having fun myself. But after playing a lot of co-op and really getting some time versus the AI with, the Jedi and all the higher class characters that you can buy later, I actually got a lot better.
Who do you like?
Yoda's my favorite. And I think that's just because I like Yoda, so I started playing him a lot. But he's not like really a great duelist, like a lot of the other lightsaber wielding characters are.
When you say duelist, like one-on-one?
Yeah, like fighting other hero characters.
Right.
Yeah.
How often does that happen though? Like, let's say you're playing. What is there? Is it camp? What is it called? The big battle.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Whatever it's called. The big battle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how often does two special characters come?
It happens from time to time.
Yeah?
It's like it's not that uncommon. Yeah, and I did play Boss because you had mentioned how much you liked him. I started playing him a lot, and he's great versus the
dude.
AI. I haven't really tried him out versus the rest of or versus actual players, but he's tough if you take him in heroes versus villains and you're like fighting people with lightsabers. You really got to keep your distance. But he's
all about setting traps.
Yeah, well, he's got the gas grenade, and then he's got like a grenade launcher that he can use, so he can really just do a lot of damage from a distance.
I decided I'm going to install this and just have it ready to go. Oh, I mean, I haven't put too much work into this, and make fun of me if you will. I don't know how to launch Origin. Like,
Dude,
if I hit control,
we'll talk about
Yeah,
that.
we'll
We'll talk about the
we'll
game of the
talk
week, by
about
the
it
way.
when we get
All
to
right?
thank you.
Okay.
Because we
We had
wasted
Discovery.
35 fucking minutes of our time trying to play together. With
Tired of this
Origin and
shit.
other shit.
It's a goddamn. How am I supposed to play my video games? Tired of it.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess right now, but we'll talk about that when we get to Dead Space 3.
All right.
All right, so what have you guys been playing?
More Chivalry 2. It's been a game that me and my friends, we've taken like a video game hiatus as far as like playing with each other because we've just been playing other shit. And then also some of us been going through a lot of life shit. So normally it's about 4 or 5 of us playing at the same time, and we'd all play the same game, whether it be like WoW or League or PUBG or whatever the fuck it is. And so we stopped playing together for about 2-3 months, and now we've been playing Chivalry, and goddamn, when this game works, is it so addicting.
Especially when you're with your buddies, dude.
Dude, exactly. And like and I'm in another Discord as far as like just like friend groups and stuff.
The fuck?
And it's always packed, and people are like, what should we play? Like, we have too many people for Tarkov, and we have too many people for this, or too many people for that. And I'm immediately like, Chivalry. Because there's literally a map where I think it's 32 versus 32. And it's just like a 50-foot by 50-foot field. And it's the first team to get the 300 kills. And you just see people beating the shit out of each other, or shooting arrows and stuff.
It's a butcher house, dude.
Yeah, and it's nuts. And like even some of the customization in the game is really good. The armor in the game is pretty good. They're obviously setting the game up for DLC as far as like weapons and stuff, because some classes that will have like 12 or 14 or even 18 weapons, while some classes have like 6. So it's like compared to the other game, like the Chivalry 1, like some of the weapons that were in Chivalry 1 just didn't make it, but the weapons are very unique as far as like how they play. Every weapon has a special attack. For example, like a spear, you can't swing a spear like with left click and right click. You can only stab. Like, that's all you can do. But the thing is, the spear is the fastest two-handed weapon and the longest fastest two-handed weapon. And so you just like keep stabbing, and you can you can kill someone super quick. But the problem is, like, if someone shows up with a shield or something, you're fucked.
Mm-hmm. He's a really good guy to come out behind people, obviously, right? Well, anybody
Exactly.
is,
And
right?
then, like I said, every weapon has like a special move. His special move is that, like, let's say you're on a bridge, he plants his spear on the ground, and if someone runs into it, they take like triple damage.
What do you mean? Like like when horses are gonna run at spearmen, like that?
Exactly, like in Braveheart, he's like, hold on, and they pick up the spears and they put it in the ground. Like that's what he does.
But that seems pretty. Like, how do you get somebody to walk into a spear?
Well, what it is like, so that's what I've been saying a lot as well, as far as like some of the abilities, because like one of the abilities that like the footman has is to build like a 3x3 like little barricade that's made out of like wood, and it has like spikes on it.
Yeah.
Well, there's moments where like there are like 20 or 30 people trying to run through one corridor. If you set up like 4 or 5 spearmen in there, you're gonna just kill everybody.
Yeah.
And so it really requires like teamwork and shit. So
yeah, you got to put it definitely. It's got to be a choke point, right?
Yeah,
it's not
going to
guy's
work.
Special ability choking the chicken, dude. What's he gonna do with the chicken?
So I think this game has over, I think it's over 30 or 40 pickupable items, and like most of them you can light on fire and throw as well. So like every weapon is throwable, I think, except for the bow. And like you can throw like your two-handed mace at somebody if you think they only have like 5 health left and they can't block anymore, and you'll kill them. But you can also literally pick up horse shit and throw it at someone, and it slows them down and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
What about are there archers?
Yes, there is archers, and so every class has 1 to 4 subclasses, or 1 to 4 subclasses, depending if you call a weapon a subclass. So archers go from archer to crossbowman to javelineer, and like the javelin is like a smaller spear, but they can also throw it, and they also have a shield. So
That sounds pretty
every
sweet.
class is like that.
Yeah, Javelineer sounds like the right thing for me.
Yeah,
I like
no, like I said, unfortunately it's $40.
Yeah.
That's the one fucking drawback. But I feel like it's a game that like, hey, does everybody have Chivalry? Then let's play Chivalry because we have more than 4 people or 5 people. The normal amount of people to play like a game, like a multiplayer game or anything.
Bobby, he is painting a pretty picture here, right?
Yeah, but I feel like we had this exact same conversation about the first Chivalry.
Yeah, and Mordhau.
Oh,
What
and
about the
Mordhau.
siege part about it, Nick?
So the
are there
siege part about
wa-
it's really nice. So I think there's 8 maps as far as like the full 64 player game mode. 3 of them are actual sieges. 2 of them are just team deathmatch and like in like a field, and then another like 3 of them are mixed, where it's like to be able to advance, you have to kill all the villagers. To be able to advance, you have to kill like a certain amount of the other people's team.
Mm.
And so the sieges are really interesting. So you'll like there's a map where you're sieging a castle and it's like raining and stuff, and to be able to push the siege tower, everybody has to stand next to it. And if you're not, it won't move at all, and people will hop into it, and the enemy team can spawn near it compared to where you're spawning. So it's actually like you have to pile in on it, like as if you were like a real,
a team pushing
siege
it?
tower team. So,
Did you
But
ever
it's-
get into
it's-
For Honor, Nick? Did you ever play
What?
that game? Did you ever play a lot of For Honor?
So I actually played For Honor 6 months before it was released at the PS4 like state of play thing, like
Mhm.
in San Francisco, and then I also played some of it when it came out because I got a free copy.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, I played it.
Did you like that one more or less than these games like Mordhau? I feel like Mordhau and the Chivalry games are very close to each other, and War of the Roses as well. Although
So
I don't think that one's
Mordhau
around.
is very similar to Chivalry. So one thing that Chivalry 2 did, and this is like you're starting to see this between the games, like Mordhau just announced that there's going to be a Mordhau 2. And so like they announced it immediately after they announced Chivalry 2 was coming out.
Yeah.
And there are so many mechanics that used to be like hidden gems and hidden secrets that are added to the game that are now like default. Like the game teaches you turn your head when you swing, because your character, if I'm swinging like from right to left, if I turn my head, my swing is going to start even earlier and I'll hit someone faster.
Mm.
And so that's something that's taught to you like while you're playing it. And it's a very important like thing to go by.
Like using your whole body to get your swing in, right?
Exactly. And then there's weapons that benefit from hitting at the beginning of the swing or at the very end. Like a pole hammer, if you hit him at the beginning of the swing, you're hardly going to do any damage. But if you hit him with like the very tip or the very end of the swing, then you're going to do a fuck ton of damage.
Mm.
They take away a lot of the customability from Mordhau, which kind of is kind of sad to see, but it also kind of sets up like you know what you're facing,
Mm-hmm.
and you're facing less like mean people that are running around with just rocks and throwing knives and just throwing them at you until you die.
Yeah.
And in this game, you really every time I'm in a fight, and if I don't instantly win with like just one swipe because the guy's already beat up, like every fight just feels good and smooth. I've never had any in-game lag or in-game problems like that, like where it's like, oh man, I didn't hit that guy, or how did I miss that guy, or like how did that guy hit me? But the one fucking crutch of this game is the goddamn like party system, and this is a problem that's been since day one, and they're still trying to fix it. And their main excuse, I should say, is cross-platform play. They're like, for some reason, the game is detecting some players as Xbox players and some players as PC players, and they won't be able to detect each other online. Me and my friends tried every fucking way to make it work reliably, and we just end up having to just manually join a server on the server browser and then just mash to be on the same team.
That sucks.
Yeah, but it's good. Even if, and that's another thing, is like even if we weren't on the same team, we still had a fuck ton of fun, especially when we ran into each other on the battlefield. But we had a fuck ton of fun.
I think it's fair to say that every iteration of these is just going to be the best one, because Mordhau does some things, and then Chivalry does some things, and then whoever, they're all learning off of each other.
Exactly.
The next Mordhau is going to take everything that this game did well and put it in their game.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, that's what I've been playing.
I'm in for Mordhau 4. Right around that should be enough incremental improvement for me to be interested. I played Othercide very, very shortly, hour and a half or so. This has been on my wish list forever, but the Steam sale is happening, so it was 50% off. I also bought HalfLife Alyx. Did you buy anything, Bobby?
During the Steam sale?
Yeah.
No, not yet.
Okay. I bought HalfLife Alyx because I have the VR, but I still haven't done the thing to make Steam games work on the Oculus. You can do that, right?
Oh, yeah. That works just fine if you plug it in.
That's all you have to do? Just play it? I thought there was a third-party program that you have to use.
No.
Really? Okay.
Well, in the Oculus, you have to load up you have to put it in a certain mode, but that's it. Yeah.
Oh.
You just plug it in.
Okay, cool. What was I going to talk about? Oh, Othercide. It's a crazy little game, man. So the majority of the game is black and white. It's a turn-based tactics roguelite. And so it's all black and white except for red. The highlights of red, so blood and scarves and shit are red. So it really makes things pop off the screen when blood comes out of enemies and stuff like that, which is always cool. I really like the look of it. It's very bleak. It's always raining. It's always wet. It's bad. Once you play it, you see why it's called Othercide, spelled with a C. Side usually means kills. So there's demons coming from the other side, and you're the team of people who kills them, basically. You're actually you're the mother of, I guess, your goodness or whatever, and you pop out clones from yourself, and you send them out to do battle. And it tells you up front, it is unforgiving, and everything's saved. So if you lose one unit, you're not going to be able to go back to your old save. It's not like XCOM in that way. It's basically you're stuck with your choices. And I got wiped out my first mission, dude. Well, I did the tutorial mission, no problem, but then I did the first real mission, and completely all my dolls are dead. I think they're called daughters. They all died, and what is funny is you cannot heal them either. So before a mission happens, you have the option to sacrifice her and then make another one. But I haven't completely figured out exactly. You get to keep some of the things that she's unlocked, but not everything. So you might sacrifice a level 3 character that has 10 hit points so that you can make a new character and pass the skills and abilities onto the new character, but the overall experience won't. So she'll be level 1 again.
Okay.
So it's a lot like Darkest Dungeon in that way, where you're just going to keep feeding level 1 characters until the whole group as a whole can move on to in the campaign.
Yeah.
So it's pretty tough though. The big thing here is the timeline. Show the top, Nick, the screen, please. So right there, a lot of games have this. How
Show the turn order.
Turn order, how everybody's going to move, when they're going to move, but this is heavily. I mean, this is the whole game, really. Movement and this. So there's moves like Shield Bash, where if you Shield Bash somebody, it stuns them, so they get pushed way back in the order. They lose a bunch of increments of time. If you want to do an attack like a slash, it's instant. You just do it right there, and it doesn't move you in the timeline. But if you do a heavy attack, let's see, it'll take you 30 increments. So what's really nice is if you highlight the heavy attack, it'll show you where in the timeline it's going to put your person. So if you do a heavy attack and there's nobody that's going right after you, that's fine. But if you're doing a heavy attack and there's an enemy, he's going to have his action before you finish that heavy attack. You could also do like an Overwatch type thing where, you prevent It was actually super sweet. My range character, support character, I set her up to basically block the next incoming attack on one of the allies. So this guy moved in, raised his sword, gonna kill one of my chicks, and it activated her ability. She shot him right in the face, and the animation was great. Like he was about to do it, got a bullet to the face. He's like, "Fuck, I fucking can't do that anymore." He's like, kind of lost his balance. I was like, "Oh wow, that played out really well." Just the way it worked. Yeah, I'm gonna keep playing this. This is fun.
A lot of times the animations are cool at first, but then when you see it for the 50th time, you're just like, "Come on, skip. Let's get through this."
Yeah, they're not very cool. They're not very long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Good looking game. Yeah. Regarding the Steam sale, so I thought Sea of Thieves was going to be $20 because I've seen it on sale several times for $20. It's on sale for $26.79. And I don't know if that's because of the new big update they just had, some Pirates of the Caribbean update they just added to it. And that's the new sale price, or if eventually it will be available for $20 again. But that's kind of the one I was hoping to pick up on the Steam sale, but it was not as cheap as I was hoping.
Or Game Pass.
Yeah, but the thing is, I kind of just want the game there whenever, so I can play it when I'm on and people are just like, "Hey, let's get into this game." If I was just like, you know what, I'm going to really get into this game and then drop it, then I would do Game Pass. But
the only reason I say though, because if you're going to play with, I don't think most people have it on Steam. I think most people have it on Game Pass. I don't know if there's cross-platform though.
I think there is.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we should do a research and talk about Windows 11 next episode, right?
Oh yeah, there's some interesting things about that, about some Steam integration.
Nick, did you buy anything on the Steam sale?
Dude, I have not. My dumbass bought all the things that I should have waited for.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks before. Because like the DLC that's coming out for Total War is on sale. Battle Sector is on sale.
My
so
buddy,
I'm just like,
my buddy was like, "Are you gonna buy anything on what is it called?
Epic.
No, Amazon's Day.
Oh, Prime Day.
Prime Day. Are you gonna buy anything?" And I was like, "No, I just buy things whenever I need them." And he's like, "Oh, fancy." And I was like, "No, I'm broke, dude. Like I don't." He always waits for sales, and I never wait for sales. I just, we need this, we just buy it. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's how I am too.
Yeah. Oh, we did buy something. Sam bought a Roomba.
Oh, Roomba.
Oh, really? Let me know how that works.
$200 for the cheapest one. What I don't like about it is it doesn't have the like floor scanning technology, so it just kind of bounces around.
Mm-hmm.
It does a really good job. I mean, the little thing is fucking. It picks up all that shit you don't see. Right.
Yeah.
And so that little cartridge is full like all the time. It's not very big, but the little hopper is full all the time. And what else did we buy? Oh, I was telling Bobby I bought that Sparkle thing. So it's SodaStream's competitor, because we go through a lot of mineral water in this house. A lot. Like every time Bobby comes over, I give him a can. Mm-hmm. And so every week we buy a case. So we started making it ourselves. And it's SodaStream's competitor. It doesn't come with like pre-made canisters that you have to go. I guess with SodaStream, you got to take that thing to the store and they replace the canister for you. And then you come back with it. Yeah. Some weird shit like
Really
getting
weird.
like getting a fucking oil change or something. But this thing, you just put citric acid and baking soda in the top of it. They want you to buy like their own versions of those two things. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's got to be these ones because these are perfect. Fuck you, dude. I bought a 10-pound bag of each and we're good. Mm-hmm. Like, you just pour it in the top and then it's great. You can flavor it however you want. Yep.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yep. But I think I'm done for the Steam sale. Like Half-Life Alyx. Can't wait to get into that.
How much was that?
$34.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and that game was like 60 when it came out.
Yeah, and then I paid half for Othercide, which was like 15.
Yeah, I think it said 17.49.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with my purchases for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Look, I just realized that the Valve Index is half off.
What? Wow.
Yeah, it's $4.99.
I thought there was still a wait list for that. That's a
It's already out of stock, but yeah, it's $4.99 right now.
Is that with the fucking towers?
No, that's just the headset.
Oh, yeah. You're still going to be in
Okay.
for 600 after the controllers and the
Yeah.
right.
Man,
How much is
I
everything,
think
Nick?
so. Let me see.
If
Yeah, because
everything,
you can.
Oh, what? No, yeah. The only thing that's on sale is the headset.
Okay. Yeah.
who
You can
just
buy
needs
the whole
headset?
VR kit for full price for $1,000.
Oh my god, fuckers!
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about our game of the week. So we were playing Dead Space 3 this week, kind of going back a little bit to 2013. And Nick and I had a chance to play this co-op. So when I first started playing this, I was a little worried because it wasn't that exciting. I played the first two Dead Space games, and this one just seemed pretty generic, you know? It just seemed like, okay, we're shooting some monsters, there's a bunch of cutscenes, whatever. It doesn't have that. So the game is kind of a third person over the shoulder shooter, but it is set up for co-op. So you have a character that goes around with you, and you can have that played by another person, or that can just be an AI. And that kind of takes away the whole scary element. This is not a scary game at all. I wouldn't even call it a horror game. It feels
No,
way more on the
not at all.
action side. Yeah. But where it really started to pick up for me is when we started getting to the crafting the weapons. And I think that's the big conceit of this game is, oh my God, Emilio just walked out, but I wanted to ask him because there's a game that I know he played and I played a little bit of it and I can't remember the name of it, but the whole thing about the game is that you create these wild guns. You pick up all these different parts and you put them together like Legos and you create this bizarre weapon that operates in a certain way. And that's kind of what you're doing in Dead Space 3. You're getting all these resources or you can craft them with materials and you're building these different types of guns that work in different ways. I know, Nick, you did a lot more of that than me. Why don't you describe what kind of guns you were building?
So the game is not very intuitive on like the resources as far as like what you can do. Most games that if they have this much customization, they'll explain like, hey, you can sell your parts or hey, you can sell your upgrades. But if you do know what's going on and you do know like because a little bit of a preface to the to what we're talking about. I've played and beaten this game. I played as player one the first time. I played as Isaac, but this playthrough, Bobby's playing as the main character. I'm playing as the secondary character. So there's a bunch of shit that I already know about, and it makes the game a lot easier. For example, like you can sell your upgrades. Because when you're playing the game, the game doesn't tell you, hey, you can sell your upgrades. If you sell your upgrades, you can craft even better ones or just even weapons you're not supposed to get until later on in the game. And so, when we were playing and we got the shotgun immediately, and you were like, this is a joke. Like, we're killing everything almost instantaneously. And that's really what the game is like. And that's part of the game, like, so the two things that they advertised in this game was the gun customization and the co-op. And the one thing that they advertised as far as like multiplayer goes was that even if you beat the game, you can play multiplayer sessions with randos online and you'll get random drops. So like you can get like crazy gun parts and crazy gun upgrades. Really, after like 2 playthroughs, you have everything.
Yeah, and these guns. So you built one that was like a nail gun, but also had a chainsaw attached to it. So you can craft these like super bizarre guns. And Emilio's back, so I want to ask him, what was that game where the whole game was like you were crafting crazy guns?
There was a 3D one where you fly through this big tower of guns, deadly tower of guns.
Tower of Guns.
That was one of them. That was one of them. Something like that. Very similar.
That sounds familiar.
And basically your whole screen can be fucking filled up with your gun. Like you could just make
you just
guns.
add all these attachments and you can create or arrange them in different ways. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is the game, Tower of Guns. So this is kind of what Dead Space 3 reminded me of. Like a big thing about this game is that you're crafting these wild and crazy guns. But yeah, it doesn't really tell you that you can do that. And the co-op's cool as well. So I did like that about the game. Other than that, it's a little generic. There was a part that I really enjoyed that we got to where I had to solve some puzzle and Nick had to defend me from what do they call them in this one? Zeds?
They're calling them they still call them necromorphs.
Necromorphs.
Isaac does.
Yeah.
But everyone else just calls them, they're just like the monsters or the things.
Yeah, the necromorphs. So the necromorphs are coming. Nick's fending them off, and I have to solve this puzzle. And and the puzzle was pretty cool. It was like a little Tetris thing, but I thought it was pretty good.
It is cool because usually it's AI that's working at the computer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like your partner, and he could actually be like, "You better hurry up, it's getting tight," or whatever.
Yeah.
But in that instance, because I've played some of the game like single player, in that instance, you get to choose really if you want to do this puzzle or if you want to do the defending.
I think you guys
if you
did
do the
right
puzzle,
choices.
the puzzle is timed, and if you do the defending, you just have to defend for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
But if you do it co-op, it's infinite time until the person solves it.
Yeah.
And it keeps getting harder and harder and harder. And then on the difficulty that we're playing on, if Bobby's doing the puzzle and he gets hit, he has to start all over again.
Shit.
Yeah.
You guys on Nightmare or whatever?
We're playing on the second, or the difficulty above normal. They got names for it, but it's basically hard. The other thing that they do that's different about this game is it's not linear like the other two were. So you can get into your shuttle and you can go off to another location and do a side mission and then go back to another location and resume the main quest line. So it's a little more open world than the other ones were, but still not like a sandbox or anything like that. And then the gameplay, it doesn't have that dismemberment like the first one did, and I think the second one, where it wasn't even about doing damage, it was all about severing the limbs. It doesn't really have that as much.
So fucking cool, man.
Yeah, it was great, but I still think the first one's the best. Yeah, it kind of has it a little bit, but really you're just building these wacky, crazy guns. And I think that's kind of what turned me off to this game at first is because they were advertising a lot of DLC with it. This game came out in 2013, and this was like in the height of, DLC and microtransactions.
Holy hell.
So it had all these things that you could buy, and you could get, I guess, different gun parts to craft things. And it just, I didn't understand what it was. And it just kind of like, I saw like all these little small fees, and I thought, that's stupid. I'm not interested. And the way I got this game is interesting. When SimCity came out on Origin, very famously, it was a big disappointment because the game wasn't that great, but also all the servers failed and nobody could play it on release. So as an apology, EA offered everybody their choice of one free game. And I think it was Dead Space 3. There might have been like Crysis 3 in there. Like there were some decent games, but stuff you probably already had. But that, I believe, is how I got Dead Space 3. And I think that might have been causing some problems that we had because I was loading up Origin. I'm still using Origin, not EA Desktop, the new beta that they have, their launcher. Nick was using EA Desktop. When we both logged on, we couldn't see each other on our friends list. So I said, okay, let me just get on EA Desktop. I should be using that anyway. I load up EA Desktop. I can't see Dead Space 3. I can see Battlefront 2 there. I can see my other games. No Dead Space 3. I scroll down and it says, if you don't see your game, don't worry. We haven't added all of them yet. Yet Nick, loading up EA Desktop, can see his Dead Space 3 game, but he has it through Origin Access. So I don't know if that had something to do with it. Because I saw Dead Space 3 available
How'd
through
you end
Origin
up playing
Access.
it?
This is the thing I alluded to earlier.
Well, we ended up, just to answer his question real quick, he loaded up the old school Origin launcher, and so did I.
Oh.
We saw each other, and then it worked.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do I launch Origin?
It ended up taking us 35 minutes to finally get everything to work.
Yeah, it was a mess. And we had a problem when we tried to play Battlefront 2 together, and I think this was the same reason.
But Bobby, I can't even launch the launcher. I hit the Windows key, I type in Origin, doesn't come up. I go into the program files, it's right there, the exe, click on it, doesn't work. But I know that it works because I've played It Takes Two and it loaded up in the background. It has to
Yeah.
for it to work. So I don't know.
Dude, that's how I had
you
to
may have-
open up EA. That's how I open up the new EA thing.
Mhm.
I can't open up EA, whatever the fuck it's called, EA Pass. I'm just gonna call it Pass.
Yeah,
I
desktop
couldn't open
or
up EA
Origin
Pass
Access.
whatsoever. Like I would look it up on my computer, it would show up. I'd click it, nothing fucking happens.
Yeah.
You want to know how to open it, dude? I had to open Xbox. I had to find Battlefront on Xbox, launch the game, and then open up my game library through the new EA Pass thing while Battlefront is running.
See, I think you may have it installed because you played it through Steam, and Steam has to load that up in the background. But did you actually go out and install the Origin
I could have
launcher?
sworn I did. I think I had to. I'll double check.
Okay.
But yeah.
You could try downloading the new EA Desktop Beta, which is the new launcher as well. Like,
Yeah.
that should work for you.
I need you to set up Steam Share again because I'm on the new computer,
Oh, family share.
we should do that.
We got to do that again.
Yep.
That's right.
which is why I didn't play Dead Space 3. I didn't have it. I didn't have access to it.
Oh, you didn't have it. Well, you wouldn't have had access through my Steam
Oh.
because I have it through Origin anyway.
Well, I
But
have Steam. I think I have Premiere. I used to have Premiere. Hopefully, I don't anymore. Anyway.
If you have Game Pass, you can play it, Emilio.
Oh, okay.
yeah, but I would like to finish Dead Space 3. I played the other two games. I would like to just finish off the trilogy. I got to do the same thing with Crysis as well. I still think the first Dead Space is the best, but I don't know how well that game holds up. It came out in 2008. It was really quiet and kind of like a brooding atmospheric horror game. It did that really well, but it was long. It was like an 8 to 10 hour game. When they went
There's
from
rumors of they're reimagining Dead Space 1.
really like a
Yeah.
remake or
So it's going to be first person. It's going to be a straight horror game. And it's supposed to be like a different telling of the story. But
okay.
it's been all over like What Culture Gaming's YouTube channel. It's been over a bunch of other YouTube channels. Everybody's talking about how EA has been announcing the reboot of another franchise that they used to own. Or they own, but it's like dead. And they were talking about Dead Space.
Yeah, I mean they haven't done anything with it since Dead Space 3. And the first Dead Space was very different because Isaac didn't talk at all. It was the whole silent protagonist thing that a lot of games had back then. It was very common. People used to always talk about how there was reasons for doing that and how it added to the game, allowed the player to kind of impose project themselves into the game more. But I remember when I was reading Will Whitman's book, Significant Zero, Heroes and Villains, The Fight for Soul in Video Games, or whatever it was called, the long subtitle. But he was talking about how that was so stupid and he hated it so much. And, it was just always done as a crutch because they couldn't, or it was always done just because they couldn't really do storytelling in a lot of games. So I don't know. I'd be interested to go back and play a game like Half-Life or Dead Space with the silent protagonist and see how that really holds up compared to the games today. Because it does seem, if you think about any other story, how could you possibly tell a story when the main character doesn't talk at all?
And they don't even bring it up in Half-Life. Like in Half-Life, nobody's ever like,
they do. In Half-Life 2, like Alyx says, you're pretty quiet or you don't talk that
does
much.
she?
Yeah, they lampshade it from time to time. But you would never see that in any other medium. Although Willy's Wonderland, that movie with
he doesn't
Nicolas
talk.
Cage, he doesn't talk at all during it. And that's the
great cinema.
what's the game that's based on? Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah. But it's kind of a gimmick in that. And the movie's not very good, and that's probably part of the reason. But, I don't know. I think he might be right. I think that maybe the silent protagonist didn't work. And the other two games, so 2, he started talking. And of course in 3 he does as well. But in the first one, at the end of the game is when he takes off his helmet and you see his face. Like that's the end of the game right there. So you have kind of a more personal connection with the character that you spent all this time with, because until then he's just been basically like this metal man, Iron Man in a suit.
Well, you knew he's an engineer, right? Like he's not like and he's using his tools from around the ship to kill things.
Yeah, as weapons. So like the first weapon you get is a welding tool. Like it's used to like make welds from far away, and that's what you're using as a weapon.
Bobby, so he made a crazy nail gun,
Mm-hmm.
and what'd you make?
I didn't make anything that crazy. I was experimenting, and all my guns seemed to suck. I spent a lot more upgrading my suit.
Yes, so that's exactly what I was about to say. Is Bobby spent more time upgrading his suit while I'm like, I'm just gonna make an OP gun.
Yeah,
Bobby,
maybe that was the way to go.
It's a poor musician who plays his instrument, Bobby. It's not the guns who sucked.
No, some of I made one gun.
Some of the
and
guns
Nick,
fucking suck.
yeah, well, Nick told me at one point, he's like, all you're doing is knocking them down. That gun doesn't do any damage. I'm like, oh, okay, because there's like a hydraulic thing. But you can combine it. You can combine the hydraulic with something else, so it launches something into them, like it shoots something at them, as opposed to just like air blasting them.
That does sound probably pretty fun. I like the whole like trial and error thing of this building these things.
Yeah. The gun part is cool. I do enjoy that. You know what? I can't remember if I had this problem with the other games, but I found the third person over the shoulder perspective really annoying in this. There were lots of times where I was obstructing my view of my aim, and I was trying to even bring up my menu. You know how you press tab, it brings up the menu right in front of you like a screen.
Is there a shoulder hop? Most games have a shoulder hop.
No, I couldn't find one. It's pressing all the buttons, couldn't find a shoulder switch. But yeah, and I was blocking the menu when I was trying to look at that. So I don't know. I found it really frustrating working with that.
So overall, holds up?
I'd play it if it's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
You know?
First one's
and it is
still the best, but who knows if that one even holds up. Yeah. I mean, it's all right. They tried to do new stuff in this. I appreciate that, but still, this is an 8-year-old game. So a lot of things do feel dated, especially with the menu. For instance, Nick and I would join into a game. If he joined into my game, I couldn't mute his in-game voice chat, so I would hear him double. Yeah. The only way you can do that is if you quit the game, go back to your save point, go back to the menu, and then mute each other, then go back in. Jesus, so little clunky things like that were a little annoying.
Sniper, can you do me a favor? I made a post in the Hangout. Can you do that? Can you search by people's post by their name? I think you can. And I said, what a cool little program. And I put a link in there. So somebody wrote this thing. He said it took him months to write this script. But basically what it does is it takes your Steam profile, it takes your wish list and cross-references that with all the subscription models there are. And it shows you which the best choice for you because like, oh, this one has 3 of the games on your wish list or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So you'll be like, oh, Game Pass has like 4 of the games on your wish list. Like it's totally worth it for getting a month.
Okay. So it's called Game Pass Compare.
Yeah.
.com.
Yep. So you put your Steam ID in there. You got to make your thing public, first of all. And then, and then it'll tell you what the best one is.
I got 10 games on my wish list. This wouldn't help me that much.
Let's do it, Bobby. Can we do yours? Is yours public?
My profile is public. Yeah.
Literally have 4 games on my wish list.
Oh, I had like 15 before this, so now I have like 13.
Christian's trying his. It doesn't seem to be working, though. I think when it asks for your Steam ID, you might need to do the numbers. Just the numbers, not the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't have a whole lot on. Well, I do have Sea of Thieves on my wish list, so maybe it would tell me Game Pass.
I've never really had like a great night of Sea of Thieves. I've always wanted to, like 4 or 5. You could do up to 6, right, on a galleon?
No, I think you can do 4 and then a 2 ship. I think that's the new thing is that you can do 4 and then like you can have like some homies on the 2-person ship.
4 plus 2.
So does this work?
Yeah. I have a lot of games on my Steam wish list. I use it as I just hit wish list on everything that's cool. So it says if I bought everything, my Xbox Game Pass, $191 I'd save, I guess, which actually doesn't seem like that much because I have like 100 games on there. But
oh, yeah. That's cool though. You can see which ones are on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad.
Huh.
All right.
Well, listener questions?
I don't think we have any this week.
No, we have 4.
We do. Oh, okay. Here we go.
Let me start with the Reapers real quick, just so I don't forget it. He's asking, have you all played Dungeon Defenders? We did, right? Bobby, we played it together with
A
Chad.
long time ago.
Yeah.
That game came out a long time ago.
Oh, he's probably asking because of
we were talking about.
Endless Dungeon.
Yeah, well, we were
Yeah.
talking about tower defense games.
Yeah.
And Dungeon Defenders was a pretty popular game when it came out 10 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
A long time ago. But it was, I don't know if there was a lot of like microtransaction shady
No,
stuff
it
in
was
it.
part 2 came out, dude, and just fucking went straight all microtransaction and
Okay.
ruined the franchise.
All right.
Yeah, but the first one's solid because it just stands on its own. Make
Yeah.
a good game, sell a lot of copies, right, Bobby?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
And
when anyone, anytime ever mentions Orcs Must Die, this is the game I think of every fucking time.
Oh,
But I really think of Dungeon Defenders.
yeah. Orcs Must Die is not as open worldy as, I mean, this is an open world, but it's a more, like they're coming from one
yeah, they're
direction.
being funneled into one area.
Yeah.
I remember this game being hard. I remember us having a difficult time with it for some reason.
Yeah. Well, but that makes it good. I mean,
Maybe we just weren't good at video games back then.
Yep.
It's crazy. This game's 10 years old.
Still looks pretty good for 10
Yeah.
years ago. Okay, let's get into the other ones.
All
Oh,
right.
there it is. What's your? This is from Shitten Bullets. Is that right? Shitten Bullets 89. What's your fondest memory of a pet in a game or otherwise? Ooh, I mean,
That's tough because I always feel like the pets are forced upon me. You know, like whenever they have a game where you have a pet and they try to add that's supposed to be part of the gameplay or the mechanics, it always feels a little forced. I always think of that Call of Duty where when they did their release trailer announcement, whatever, like they focused so much on the dog. I think
Yeah.
that was Ghosts that had the dog.
yeah, I think so. Plus a dog. I'm always the pet class, like 100%, and they almost always suck. Like the pet classes are almost always bad. And I will fucking sit there and try to make it work. I will try different gear. I will just fucking put a square peg in a round hole. I'll just smash it in there and make it work. Some games it's broken. Like there are pet classes that I remember. City of Heroes. I was super overpowered. I was soloing. I was soloing zones before people could going in there as groups. I remember it was crazy. It was broken. So every once in a while that happens. But yeah, my favorite. There were a couple. I remember, and this is probably why I'm so into because in EverQuest I played a necromancer, and they were basically the only class in EverQuest that could solo. The only class. That game was so hard. And when you got really into the late game, it wasn't just a skeleton. You could actually pick what kind of pet you wanted. And so I picked a rogue skeleton. Just a little guy with a knife. But if you fear the mob, the little guy, it's all backstabs because it's running away from him. So he's getting backstab damage the entire time. And I just thought that was so fucking cool that I could take all these different spells, make them work, on top of dots and all this other stuff, and then space myself the right amount of distance. So when the fear broke, I had the 1.5 seconds to recast it before it hit me and start the whole thing again. So I really liked that. And besides that, I really, really enjoyed how in WoW originally the hunter pets they had like abilities built in. So like,
Yes, they were specific to the mobs.
yeah.
So if you got like the ultra rare lion that spawned 4 times a day in Thunder Bluff,
right,
it would have and there was always like a best pet for certain situations.
Yep.
Well, the boars were used a lot in PvP because they had stun.
Yep.
Yeah, they had
Exactly.
a charge and a stun, right?
Yep. And then you could get variants. You could get like the rare ones, like he's telling about. It only spawns 4. And yep, I fucking sat out there and I waited for, the Savannah lion or whatever lion it was, and just to get it because it looks so cool. And sometimes they had rare abilities too. And yeah, here's me fucking putting the square peg in the wrong hole. The wrong hole. I just try to make the turtle work. No hunters were using the turtle, but I was like, my turtle can tank this fucking dungeon, I promise you. And so I would just fucking heal my fucking turtle, and it could tank. It just couldn't hold very aggro very well, but it was a tank.
You know what's funny is that me and my friend, we were like talking about like the dumbest moments of being like. So when you played WoW, you were an adult, right? When I played WoW, I was like 11 or 10. So one thing that 11 and 10-year-olds do to each other is lie a lot. They make up shit. Like you can find a Mew behind a trash can in the first Pokemon game and all that stuff. You have to have a certain amount of rare candies in Pokemon. You have a certain Pokemon, and that's what fucking kids do. Well, one of the ones
Mostly
that I got tricked into was if you see anybody riding a mount or any creature that could be used as a mount, like a Kodo or something, it had a chance of dropping it as a mount.
Yeah, I remember.
So I'd be in like the middle of the fucking the fucking barrens killing Kodos. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna get a free Kodo mount. Watch me.
Watch me.
Be out there. I'm just killing Kodos. And then my other friend, he had the same thing happen to him. We were talking, we were just joking around. And his was, if you see any mob, you could get their weapon if you kill them enough time. Like, is any mob. And like, mind you, we never made it to 60 because we were too dumb and young. And like,
it's like schoolyard fucking lies.
Oh, dude, exactly. And so like, he would be killing the same centaur to get like a spear with an extra feather on it for hours and be like, you know what? It's not going to drop. I'm just going to keep doing quests.
Chad and I would always. I did that, Nick, but I didn't do it stupidly. Like I did it for XP. I would always solo. I wouldn't do quests. I would just grind. Chad said I was the stupidest. I was like, dude, I'm not going to be running around. I'm just going to kill yellow con mobs over and over and over. And you can make good money. Like every once in a while, you get a blue drop or whatever. And that's how I played. Like I'm a go in the forest and solo kind of guy. Obviously, I would do the quest that you have to do, but yeah, I would just try to do dungeons by myself and shit.
What's funny is you say that now, right? And it's one of the things that I hate about WoW. Like when WoW Classic came out, there was no experimentation. There was no like trying something new or anything like that. It was instantly like, these people need this gear. Like you had tanks wearing leather and stuff like that, in which like back in the normal days of Warcraft, like World of Warcraft, you would never see a warrior wearing leather. You would never see them wearing chainmail. It was always plate. But this gives crit, and then this doubles your DPS as a tank, but you can hold more aggro. It just had no complete, like there's no questioning. There's no it.
Yeah, the meta's already written.
Exactly. And like people, it's like, I hope when EverQuest 3 comes out, like there's just a way you can't share information or something if it ever does come out. But I want a game where you have to learn, and there's no like, hey, this sword is the best thing for rogues. There's no other sword. You can't run this dungeon unless you have that sword. Like that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Game of Star Wars Galaxies Restoration 3, bro. Find me there 5 p.m. EST every day until I die.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If they take a page out of Star Wars Galaxy, the optimum build for you is very, I think it can vary. Well, especially if you're going to try to be a Jedi, right? But there's so many options. You could just really fine tune it to whatever you want. There isn't a warrior class that has a hard meta. There's a warrior dancer fucking drink server that you have to find the meta for yourself. Because Bobby couldn't even find out how to get into his spaceship or whatever it was, let alone is there going to be a meta out there for. So yeah, maybe you just play a game that's so bad that nobody's written any articles.
And nobody has paid in the last 12 years. Yeah.
How do I maximize my
question from Shit and Bullets 89? What's your fondest memory of a pet in the game or otherwise? is dog meat, and you know Reaper mentioned this in the chat, but it's really the one I have is dog meat in Fallout 4. You guys remember him? Do you guys ever play Fallout 4?
Yeah.
Didn't play 4.
You should play 4. It's not bad, especially with the DLC. But
Doesn't like
I think it's on sale right now.
Doesn't like open world. Doesn't like RPGs. Doesn't like dogs.
Ah, that's right.
Try
Never
again.
mind.
Try again.
So, dog meat, if you follow like the suggested path in the game, you immediately get him, right? Like you go to the gas station and you immediately get him. Well, my dumbass, well, slash like, you know, person who's played Fallout 3 over 30 times and beaten it 30 times. I know how the game's supposed to work. Like it tricks you into thinking that you have freedom, but really it's on rails, and you know everything is like a dungeon or this or that or another. So as soon as I got dog meat, I literally just turned around and walked a different direction than the game wanted me to. And I didn't realize that I was walking into like an area that has a set difficulty of mobs. Because like in Fallout, it's very well known that the higher level you are, the more dangerous mobs spawn, right?
It scales. Yeah.
Yeah, it scales. But in some areas, there is no scaling. It's either super easy if you're high level or super redonko hard if you're low level. Well, I'm like, cool, man, I got this dog. It's fucking up everything that I'm meeting on the road. I'm gonna go try to do this, you know, this little dungeon or whatever the fuck. It was like a little
Mine shaft
power
or something.
station or something.
Yeah.
First mob just blasts him and just instantly downs him, and I just walk away. I just leave him there. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good, son.
So you went the rest of the game?
Shotgun blast just ended my pet.
You went the rest of the game without him?
No, eventually, I went back, and you could pick him up, or if you sleep, he, reses next to you.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's my one memory that I have of dog meat. Like, it's never like he saved or anything. He just ran up to somebody and he got blasted once, and I was just like, I'm good.
Hey Nick, did you ever follow any of the modding on that game and how deep it went?
Oh yeah.
Just for people that don't know or haven't played Fallout 4, there is a 1.5 that you can get where it takes the entire. There's a whole village aspect of it where you have to build up the little towns to at least the point where they can defend themselves before you can kind of like move on. And a lot of people didn't like that part. It was kind of like a homesteading aspect of the game, like a Farmville thing. I'm making it sound like worse than it is, but you're building a town. There's a mod that takes that out of the game. You just once you liberate the town, you don't have to worry about that town again.
Yep.
But there's
did you
also
know that one of the new DLCs completely removes it from the game too?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's a DLC where you go into like the raider headquarters of all the raiders ever on the map, and if you join the raider team, like if you join one of the raider like clans, you can never do a base again. Like you can never build one. You can never have to build one. And then all the ones that if you've liberated any of them or built any of them before, you can attack them and get currency and stuff.
And then conversely, if you really like the city building aspect of it, there's ones that take the limits off of what you can build. So some have just like a square area. That's all you can build. If there's area for 11 buildings, that's all you could do. You could go up a little bit, maybe put a second story, but that's it. Now you can just make metropolises and just like keep going way up into the sky, all kinds of shit. The amount of mods that there are for these games it's fucking ridiculous. But Nick, maybe you can shed some light on where I stopped on this game. So the big thing in this game, the original one, was that there's 3 major factions and you have to join one of them, right?
Actually 4, but yeah, go on.
Okay. The way it worked out for me, and I might have fucked this up, but I was presented with a question, like, are you going to join us or not? And I believe it was the androids, right? I hadn't even met the other 2 yet, and I had to answer this person, and I didn't want to. Like, how could I say yes or no right now? I could probably come back and say yes later or whatever, but I just felt like, how could I possibly answer you if I haven't met the other factions yet? So that's where I stopped playing.
That's part of the game. Like there are points in the game where it's like, hey, answer this question, and then like they're asking you all these things that you're quote unquote supposed to know. But if you don't know anything about them because you never met them, you can't really make the good decision. So what you're supposed to do is like say no, go explore, come back and say yes. But I think the actual like the Android faction that you're talking about, the synths, they're one of the only ones that you can't do that, where you can't come back after saying no.
Yeah, so that's what happened to me. So
Yeah.
I just kind of I did not enjoy being pigeonholed right there, and I stopped for a while, and then I just never went back. But I should
So let me
with some like
something
graphic
that
mods, dude, with my
bring you
3080
back.
RTX.
This is something that will definitely bring you back. So there's a mod that you can do, and I think it's called Different Start. And what you can do is you can decide to spawn, like you can start the game, and you can check what quests you've done. You can check, what level you're at. You can check like all these different things that you can put in the on the checklist, and you can you instantly get to that point in the game. So like let's say like you lose your save, right, Emilio?
Yeah, it's a great place to
And
start off.
And like you're like, you know what? I just joined the Brotherhood of Steel. I'm like halfway through their quest line. This mod will allow you to choose what quests you've done, choose the factions you joined and all that stuff, and it just immediately takes you there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's also mods for like just to completely skip the first 40 minutes of the game, like everybody's running to the Fallout shelter because the Fallout shelter salesman's at your house, and you had to customize your daughter and
Yeah.
customize your wife and yourself. And
so welcome back to Fallout Forecast. Ooh,
Yeah.
Fallout Forecast. Look at that. It even works. All right. What's the best way to get into Warhammer 40K? Oh, Jesus Christ. You just fucking trolling me, dude. Who is it? What's his name? Ariana Grande's ponytail?
What I will say, and I'll keep it very short, it's not for everybody. It's an expensive hobby to play in person.
Tabletop simulator, dude. Boom. Done.
Exactly. Tabletop simulator is a way to go if you actually want to play. But if you want to get into the computer games, if you want to get into the world, there's one video that you can watch, or it's two videos that's supposed to be one, and it's a video by Bricky, and he's a pretty famous YouTuber, and he describes every race in the game in the universe, as like the major races, and it kind of just seeds like the overall story as well as like what's going on currently and all the races. So like you might be like, I don't know where to fucking start with this shit. And you watch that video and you're like, okay, like I kind of get what's going on.
It's pretty entertaining, dude. Like as I listened to it with no background, zero background in 40K, except for playing Dawn of War. And I was like pretty entertained. Like that's a really, really good video.
And that's what I always point. Like I one of the people I played D&D with in person, which we just started last week. He was like, "Man, you got all these cool models and stuff." He's like, "I always wondered about Warhammer 40K." He's like, "What do you suggest?" I was like, just watch that one fucking video, man." And he did it. He's like, now he's like asking a bunch of questions and he's trying to get into it. So, yeah, it's definitely where to start.
We lost another one. Tickle Me Elmo asks, can you do any tongue twisters? I used to. Oh, say toy boat 5 times fast. Anybody?
And does it eventually just turn into boy butt or something like that?
No, you just can't say it. You just go
Toy
ahead.
boat, toy boat, toy boat, toy boat, toy boat, toy boat, toy boat. Is that 5?
Yeah,
6.
that was 6. A little faster.
Little extra one in there for you.
You end up at toy boy, or I do every time. Toy
Boy,
boy.
yeah.
Yeah. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Boom.
Isn't there one in Spanish that's like super popular?
Tres trigos tragan al trigal. Something like that. Tres trigos tragan al... Fuck. Yeah, there's that one. Everybody, every race, every language, I'm sure, has some.
Yeah, no, in Hebrew it's the worst. We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that.
It's bad. There's a lot in it, and there's a lot of in it. It's not fun.
Bobby, you got any?
Oh, I don't know. What Sally sells
come on,
seashells. Wow, dude.
It's like the one.
Yeah, I mean, what other ones are there? How much wood could a woodchuck? Although that one's not really much of a tongue twister.
Yeah, it's just it's nice to hear. Would a bear fuck something about a bear? I don't know. I don't remember. All right, that's a good question. We've just ran into the dirt. Tickle me, Elmo. Sorry.
There's one in Hebrew, like the toy boat one. There's one where it's like, oh, say this 5 times fast, and it's Sarah sings a happy song, but in Hebrew it's Sara Shara Shir Sameach, and like say that 5 times fast, and you're just like, nah, I'm good, man. I'm just gonna go
You're
cry.
gonna cough up a hairball, dude. If you try that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what's everybody playing next week?
Fucking HalfLife Alyx. And if it's as good as everybody says it is, that's probably all I'll be playing.
Dead Space with Bobby, but we do need to decide on a game of the week for next week.
Who's up?
And it's Bobby's turn.
I had a few ideas, but I don't know if we want to hash this out here.
It's ultimately your call. We don't have to put anything.
Well, there was one. I don't know how you guys are going to feel about this, but I've always wanted to check out Genshin Impact.
Oh, it's like a. Oh, that's the one that you said, Nick. Right? Like, why? I hate it. Right?
I hate it without even having to touch it, but I'll play it.
Yeah, it's a free game. I think it's on mobile as well. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking that might be a little bit better for you because you're going to be out of town for a while.
Yeah.
It's an MMO game, and I know there's a few people on the Discord that play it. It has been criticized, I believe, because there's some microtransaction stuff that's a little weird, a little pay to win here and there. But I don't know.
I like it, dude, because it takes us all out of our wheelhouse. 100%.
This is not something any of us would.
As someone who
probably
watches
play.
anime, this is in my wheelhouse.
Okay.
I don't. Like, it's going to take me 30 minutes to finish beating off before I can play it every time. I only have 35 minutes to play every time. So I'm going to get 5 minutes each time. There's actually not much. There's nothing sexy about these characters.
This is we have not decided. This is simply just one of the games that Bobby has mentioned. But no, Genshin Impact
the other games that I had were old, and I wanted to do something a little more modern. And there are a lot of games that some of us have played, but not all of us have played. I would love to get the three of us together playing. You and I played it. What's the game? Roguelike, co-op, Gunfire Reborn.
Oh, Gunfire Reborn.
Yeah.
Well, we already played that together.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of changes since you last played, but the three of
We should
us.
play
I'm talking
Hunt
about.
Showdown.
Hunt Showdown.
That game just that game just got.
It's not your week, Nick.
Too.
It's not your week.
I know it's not my
How about
week.
you shut your mouth?
I just don't want to play Genshin Impact. Okay.
I don't know. I'm feeling good about Genshin Impact.
Yeah, me too.
I think that's going to be best for everybody.
Suck it up,
All right.
Buttercup.
Hey, I'll play it. That's the agreement. I gotta play it for at least 2 hours.
All right.
Okay.
So it's settled.
It is decided. Other than that, I really want to. I've been really wanting to play Darkest Dungeon again. I picked up the last DLC, even though I heard it wasn't that great. I picked it up on the last Steam sale, and maybe I'll check that out. I don't know, the Crystals of Madness or whatever it's called.
When's part 2 supposed to drop?
That's what I'm wondering, man. I'm still waiting on That's like my
They
most
said they
anticipated
rebooted
game right
the
now.
whole gameplay aspect. Like it's no longer a turn-based thing or some shit like
Oh,
that.
yeah. They're flipping it on
Yeah,
its head.
they're doing a lot of different
Like it's
things.
supposed to be like a wow. It's supposed to be somewhat like a Dark Souls-ish kind of thing. I don't know, some shit like that. Like it's supposed to be third-person fighting instead of turn-based.
Yeah. Quick shout out to the Drill Bit coming in with 14 months. Thank you.
Thanks, homie.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, man.
All right. But yeah, that's going to be my week.
All right.
Awesome.
Speaking for Bobby, Christopher, Nick, and myself, big fucking tits. Bye, everybody. Dun, dun, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun.